Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about the three things that are missing from our lives in this day and age, in this technological day of social media and everyone being offended and social justice warriors and all this stuff. So what is missing from our lives? And the first one I'd say is satisfaction. And what do I mean by that? Just satisfaction overall in many areas where it used to be just commonplace. Satisfaction from a job well done. Nowadays, a lot of us might type on a keyboard all day and, at the end of the day, you get up and you go home. I mean, is there satisfaction there? Do you feel like you've done a good job and changed the world after they're inputting some code all day or whatever, or checking in clients, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Those kind of office jobs, clerical work that are becoming more and more prevalent, where we used to have factory work and build things. Building things used to be the major occupation. Nowadays it's just shuffling numbers. It's not even shuffling papers anymore. It's shuffling digits and pixels on a screen. So there's little satisfaction to be had there. Maybe on personal interaction sometimes, I guess, but very little in a job well done. And more becoming the norm is where we don't have satisfaction in the home. Broken families and all this stuff. You don't. A lot of us don't get to come home to a happy whole household with loving wife or husband and children, and you know what I mean. We don't get to see that every day, and that satisfaction is missing in our lives, missing from our lives. Unless maybe once in a while we might get to build a birdhouse or a doghouse or something, or we don't even get to fix cars anymore like we used to. You can't work on this stuff nowadays, where the satisfaction is really a subtle thing that is missing from our lives nowadays. And there's a lot more different areas where that is missing, that we used to have that. And I mean people, Americans, humanity. We used to get satisfaction and derive it from these things, these actions, and these things and these actions, family, production. These things are evaporating out of our society and out of our lives at a rapid pace now, and along with our satisfaction. So I think that's something that we should at least acknowledge. And the second item on my list is pride. And again, I can go back to the family, the family structure, where a man or a woman used to be able to have pride in their family, used to take pride in just being a family together, raising their kids together, having that whole little unit that was yours, that you could take pride in. And it started there, and then it went up, community pride, up to national pride in our country, and starting at the family. And I honestly do not blame this totally on individuals, because the family has been destroyed from a top-down level. It's happened, I think, by design. That's just my personal opinion. They have ripped families apart. It's division at the most basic level. We see the division all the time with all this racial division, division by gender and all this stuff. They're dividing us, and it's obvious. But at the family level, it's not so obvious, but I think it's just as intentional. We're losing that pride in our family, if we haven't already lost it, because we used to be able to have pride in just taking care of our family. And now a lot of guys and women too, either without any wrongdoing of their own, they've lost their families, or through their own bad decisions, they've lost their families. Some of them, if we've made bad decisions and we've lost our family, then we feel guilt along with that lack of pride. But either way, they're just the nation is full of broken homes, and without that family unit, there cannot be pride in that family unit. That's just the way it goes. The division put in communities now with the immigration, the whole trans movement, and the displacement of women in the women's places and all this stuff. This has caused division at the community level, towns and cities and stuff. So it's, that's erasing pride there. And at the national level, I mean, when I was a kid and when I was in the Army, 30 years ago, I used to be proud of this country. Now I look back and that pride was misplaced because I was proud of our government too. Now, over the years, I've realized that our country and our government are two completely separate things. But nowadays, we can't even be proud of our country. We can be proud of certain groups or individuals inside our country, but our country as a whole is just running off the rails, and we all see it, and it's difficult to be proud of that. It's difficult to be proud of watching one of our American athletes up there competing in the women's division in sports when it's obviously a dude, and jumping around and acting like they did something, accomplished some great feat by winning an event over women. I don't know. I could go on about that. That's just sickening to me, because our women have done so much throughout the history of this country, defended their families while the men were off at war or, hunting or whatever, and it was just a woman alone on, it's just, women are strong and fearless and very capable, but they're not men. I'm not. I'll go down that rabbit hole, and I can go off on that subject. So I'm gonna leave that one alone for now. But let's just say that's not something I'm proud of. All right. I see that stuff happening in America, and I think about the rest of the world looking at that, and I feel shame, not pride. I'm ashamed. So even at the national level, we're losing pride, if we have any left at all. So pride is missing. Pride is missing from our lives. It's missing from our country. And it's sad to see it go, because America was something great at one time. It really was. It was a shining beacon of the world to announce and stand for freedom. But it looks like that is going away at a pretty rapid pace. And the last one I think about, and I think it's a pretty important one, is purpose. Purpose is missing from our lives. We get up, we go to work like robots, we slave away all day to pay the tax man and pay the bills, and just to stay alive to work another day. What is the purpose other than just paying taxes and staying alive? Staying alive is different than living. Staying alive is different than having a purpose-driven life. Something, there's purpose in it. There's a real reason. And that, I think, is some of the attraction for an apocalyptic event, some kind of disaster where survival, then you're surviving. You're everything you do is necessary and important, and it has purpose for survival. It's not just staying alive. And that'll go down you drill that idea all the way down to the family too, and how that basic unit is being destroyed. It hasn't completely been destroyed. There are plenty of people out there who are trying to live in more, the more traditional way, to stay with the family unit and all that. But they're trying. They're fighting against the tide of society. They're looked at as weirdos and stuff. But that's where it starts, there with the family. If you have a complete family unit and you're together, your life automatically has purpose in that family. And you start there, and then from the ground up, everything begins there. When that has been destroyed, then a lot of our purpose has been destroyed. Now, single parents raising kids, you have purpose. I'm not taking that, and I'm not dismissing that in any way. I'm talking about the other half who don't have the kids, who don't have a family, who, which there are a lot of people out there in that situation. The purpose has been taken away. The purpose has evaporated, right? And I'll repeat that again, that I don't believe that it's all on personal decision making. It's too widespread for that. This is a thing that is pervading our society. It's looked on. I see it all the time on the internet where people are posting how stupid it is to get married or have kids, males and females. It's just a stupid idea. We can believe what we want to believe, but makes me wonder why the thinking has shifted so far in the last few decades. For all of the humanity, as far back as we can look, that was the greatest goal, was to have a family. Now it's just evaporated. So something has changed that, and it's not just people are screwed up, people are he or she is messed up, or whatever, he or she's got an attitude or whatever. You can say that they're crazy, whatever, but it's just too prevalent. It's too widespread to not be a top-down thing from society, from the education system to the media, to all these things, pushing this idea onto society as a whole, for such a normal thing as having a family to be looked on by the majority of society as weird, right-wing. So there's more to it than just, individual choices. This is an idea that's been put into our societal subconscious by design. That's how I feel. Having said that, purpose is a real motivator. It makes you feel good about yourself. It makes you, it drives you to do things you may not think that you could have done, because you have a purpose. You have a reason for doing them. Now, if you're just grinding away every day and yesterday is the same as tomorrow, and it's just all you're doing is waiting, basically, where's the purpose? And with purpose comes fulfillment and happiness. And that's another thing about the whole fantasy post-apocalyptic idea. Why do some people look on it in a glamorized light, in a good light, right? How could somebody look at an apocalypse in a good light? Well, those are three reasons right there. Because it will restore purpose, pride, and satisfaction in individual lives. Because the survivors will have a purpose. They can have pride in what they do, and they can be satisfied after they do it. Whether it's scavenging up some cans of beans, or, bringing a deer home to feed their family, or whatever it is, building a log cabin, we would have purpose, pride, and satisfaction again. And I'll leave you there. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there. Or you can hop over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I'll put that link down in the description. And I'd like to thank those of you who have done that already. I appreciate it. It helps out a lot. If you're interested in Gen X gear, you can go over to Redbubble and check that stuff out. I'll put that link in the description as well. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out a lot also. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for doing that. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.